你想不想跟大家分享一下有点你的四川话？
但是我觉得我现在的说的四川话还是没得特别好。
还是 pretend like you're on a phone call.
哎喂，哎你在哪儿？你咋还在屋头？你咋会吹口水
You should say most of your Chinese is learned from omeTV.
Not necessarily omeTV, but it's just been conversations with people.
Did you ever spend like times at home only doing like Hanzi and writing stuff down and learning grammar rules or something?
No, never.
How many hours do you think, just a rough estimate, have you spent on omeTV?
At least 500. At least.
This was kind of my intention learning English. I wanted to pick up the Aussie accent to cover up my German accent. Language acquisition and comprehensible input are like the twin towers, and you're like the pilot from 9/11.
I don't know. I would have Google Translate like split screen with my omeTV, and it would be in my headphones. So I'd just quickly type something in, and then I'd be like trying to imitate it. And
yeah. The day you went on omeTV, was that your first day of learning Chinese?
That was my first day.
But I only spoke to Chinese people, like an actual conversation after 1.5 years. While you did it from the first day. Chinese.
Comprehensible input is nonsense. No, I'm kidding.
Your input is purely coming from real people.
We're talking like 97% plus.
I believe it depends a lot on your personality.
100%.
Because, you know, I'm very introverted. The crazy thing is, Krishna uses every situation in real life like a omeTV scenario. Hitting up a conversation. You were even talking to the taxi driver, bro. But the problem is, it drains me quickly. So I can have some conversations.
I have to have a fat nap after this conversation.
Not a fat nap, but like 5 days off. Actually, through speaking, it's the fastest way.
Yeah, I'm sure you...
It's definitely the fastest way. How much can you speak? And you're like a waterfall.
Then sometimes they didn't understand what I was saying. They're like, oh, just speak English. Like, I got things to do.
Oh,
great.
Everybody on omeTV knows you already.
Something like that. Someone will post a video of me on omeTV, like all the comments are like, I've
had this guy too.
I've seen him twice. I know exactly the fact that we have
the same algorithm. And it made me so painful that at the same time I could transform it into motivation. And it gave me like this keep going, like underdog kind of spirit.
And he was like first person that says like, dude, your Sichuanhua is not good. I don't know why you tell people you speak Sichuanhua. I'm like, bro.
Like, stop. How did you experience this coming to China for the first time after 6 months of study?
And I felt zero communication barrier.
You're like, we'll never meet again if I mess something up.
Play, you know? Yeah. That's right.
支付宝. You just say it so quickly, but you know when I say it, before I say it, I think about the tones. 支付宝. 你不用那么谦虚.
你也不用那么谦虚，好不好?
He's very like humble and stuff.
You're very humble.
But actually he's like the goat.
You're the on omeTV. I'll take it.
There might be a certain gift to learn language quicker, having a good memory, but I still believe it mostly depends on how much you dare to speak.
To learn the language the quickest, you need to have the right attitude. I agree. And 快，切吧，好，拜拜。
Test.
Cool. So that was a fake phone call. I don't know if you could tell. You can't, can you? I'm so good at it.
Huh?
That was a fake.
I saw the flashlight was on.
Yeah, I saw that too, and I wanted to turn it off. But had the flashlight not been on, he would have thought someone was calling me. I was having dinner with my friends, and at the table next door, I overheard them talking in Chongqing, which is similar to.
Okay.
And I just randomly, like, I got a phone call, and I started talking. Yeah, like, my friends were there, and they thought it was like, well, okay. And then the other person came over and was like, oh my god, you speak Chongqing. I'm like, yeah, I speak Chongqing. I was like, oh my god, that's the same.
But wait, Chongqing is very different. They cannot say 吃吃吃.
The same as Chengdu.
Really?
成都吃饭.
How do you say? 我跟你说.
我跟你说.
Yeah, okay, then it's similar.
You started recording, didn't you?
Yeah, but I'll be using my phone even if I end up using this mic. But wait, let me quickly think about what. We'll be very transparent, no script, no nothing, just like a real conversation. Okay, 朋友们，你们好。今天我带了一个特别有意思的嘉宾，因为他是一个黑人。我想问一下，你觉得他算黑人吗？
他不黑啊，他不黑。
No,
I don't know why I signed up for this.
No. Okay. Most of it will be still in English, but I'll be still using some Chinese.
Sure. Whatever you want. Whenever you use Chinese, I'll...
No, but actually the first thing I want to ask you,
tell me.
Just introduce yourself, like who you are as a person, just like your growing up background, to let people know that you didn't have some kind of exposure to Chinese from an early age. So you're just a random dude.
I thought you were gonna like make me tell my life story, which is interesting. So, what's up? My name is Krishna. I'm from New York City in the United States of America. My parents are from the northern part of India, and they immigrated here during their life. And yeah, I was born in America and lived in America for now been 20 years. And yeah, I mean, other than English, like I learned Spanish in school, and I was exposed to the national language of India, Hindi, and a northern language, Punjabi, because of my family.
But Thomas.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's really, I pulled that out of nowhere the other day. I was really surprised.
Можешь ты по-немецки разговаривать?
मेरा नाम कृष्णा है.
मेरा नाम Thomas है. आपसे मिलकर खुश हुआ है.
Chinese was never really a part of my life. In my high school, I had a lot of Chinese international student classmates, but
you didn't pick up anything from them.
I picked up words that I'm not going to say on here because they may
probably only 脏话.
Yes,骂人的话. But
okay.
Yeah, that's about it. So yeah, it's only until after I graduated high school and I lost all of my Chinese contacts did I start.
Okay, so you had no contact, no connection to Chinese from an early age, and the reason why I brought you here is because within a year
and a half.
Okay.
I started last like June, July. I mean 2023 June.
Oh yeah, you reached such a level in Chinese where I think it's very special, and most importantly because of your approach. I think it's very. So there is, like the language learning community.
Sure.
And comprehensible input is like the holy grail.
Right.
Like language acquisition, blah, blah, blah. First, you need lots of input, and only then you can dare to speak. And this was also my approach. Yeah, but people believe that this is the fastest way to get to fluency.
Right. I mean, but those sort of techniques and practices inspire sort of the way in which I think we teach, right? We try to get them, especially students that have no exposure or previous English experience in the past, you want them to get exposed to as much English as possible.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
But most people believe input first, and only then you can put out.
Yeah.
Or your output depends on your input.
That is the
so
belief.
Many people say you need hundreds of hours of input first, and only then you can actually说出来. But before I talk too much, 你可以介绍自己一下吗？用中文。但是我应该说你得说慢一点，因为甚至我觉得你说中文的时候，你说的真的很快。你的语速跟母语者一样。
没有，但是我觉得如果我说中文很慢，我觉得我的中文也没有那么标准，但是我可以试一下嘛。大家好，我是守黎，我是美国人我父母都是印度的，所以我是印度裔。我是在
混血的，
不是混血
混血。
我没有我在说我不是混血。
你看你是纯美国的，
纯美国印度的。
OK。
然后我是从2023年7月份开始学中文然后我们都现在在中国这个很美丽的城市合肥。
对的，我们正在合肥，安徽。
我已经学了是什么一年多然后我觉得我认识的朋友挺多的。我觉得学中文是这个经历，就是学中文的经历真的是对我很好的一个事。然后
那你跟当地人说话的时候，你跟他们第一次用汉语的时候，他们的反应是怎么样的？
反应
reaction
反应我觉得现在吗？
比方说在omeTV上面
omeTV，我觉得他们有时候就我吓死他们了，因为我觉得说实话，我觉得我中文水平也没有特别高，但是
你的语速太快了。
我觉得我能说的一两句话我觉得我说的还可以，就是有点北京还是北方的一些这种感觉，所以就是我跟他们说比较容易的比如说你是哪里人，或者你是做什么工作，你还在上学，或者这些事情，我觉得我说的还好，就是还可以，还不错。
OK，
所以
你跟他们用普通话的时候，他们有可能觉得你是一个学生，但是
留学生，对，
你开始用四川话的时候怎么样？
我开始用四川话的时候，我觉得大部分人觉得我在四川待了很久。一个是因为大部分的外国人他们不这么会说方言，如果他们在这边定居的话，他们也就会说普通话，因为学一个方言也是挺困难的。因为方言的话，如果一个中国人在说他们自己的方言，然后他们也会说的特别快，然后他们什么自己的成语或者什么东西，
对，
所以 如果我跟他们说四川话的时候，我觉得我四川话的确是比我普通话标准。然后我跟他们说的时候，他们觉得，如果真的我在跟那个四川还是重庆人聊天的话，我真的吓死他们。他们说啊，你在我说重庆话、四川话，就是这样子。
有没有这个情况？他们以为你是中国人？
有一些人就是觉得我有可能是什么新疆人，或者说混血。
What are you talking about? On omeTV, they all believed you that you were from Sichuan.
But that's because I told them that. Like, if I tell somebody that I am from Sichuan and I was born there and like I'm a mixed race, half Sichuan, half Indian.
Yeah, but then actually they believe it.
Yeah, they can believe it after a while. But if I tell them I'm just like full Sichuan, they look at my face and they're like, all right, you're lying, bro. But if I tell them I'm mixed and I was raised in Chengdu, then even though I don't think my Sichuan is perfect at all, I think there's a few problems with my tones and everything. I think like they can believe it for sure. Yeah.
Anyway, 你想不想跟大家分享一下有关你的四川话? You can just say any random stuff like you always do on omeTV or like on fake phone calls. Because it just sounds so funny.
要得。大家好，我是手里，我是在美国出生的，我是美国纽约的。我是从差不多1年前就开始学四川话，但是我觉得我现在的说的四川话还是没得特别好。
还是 pretend like you're on a phone call.
喂，你在哪儿？你咋还在屋头？你咋会吹口水？不要出去耍嘛！但是我觉得，如果我不再跟一个人摆龙门阵的话，就是我跟你摆龙门，你不会说四川话。那我真的是觉得很奇怪。就是
Okay, got it. Because when I make the subtitles, I have a big problem.
I'll help you. No, I'll help you.
The most special thing is probably, would you say most of your Chinese is learned from omeTV?
Not necessarily omeTV, but it's just been conversations with people. So whether it be omeTV or Hello Talk or just meeting people in Chinese restaurants and talking to them, or going to Chinese international student events in America, I think all of that has been literally over 90% of wherever, over 90%.
Just output.
Yeah, just...
Did you ever spend like times at home only doing like Hanzi and writing stuff down and like learning grammar rules or something?
No, never. I never really would sit down and say, okay, I'm gonna now learn the fundamentals of Chinese, pinyin and yufa, all these things. I didn't really care too much about that. Because first of all, I thought it was really boring. And second of all, my passion was talking to people. So I didn't get that same rush from learning Chinese the way I did when I was talking to others.
This is the ultimate goal of a language, to communicate, right?
Of course.
But if you only study at home, you only learn the listening part, the receiving part, but not really the output part.
Yeah, the input part. And yeah.
How many hours do you think, just a rough estimate, have you spent on omeTV?
At least 500. At least. I mean, they say it takes 1,000 hours to really like become fluent, or what is it, to become comfortable in a language?
Do you know the American chart which says like Chinese is category 4 language?
I'm not
Next to some other Asian language in Arabic, it says Chinese takes 2,200 hours to become fluent.
Interesting.
What do you think?
I think for most people, if they learn in a traditional way, yes.
Traditional way.
It doesn't need to be that way, especially if you have a passion for it and you really love the journey of it, then especially if you're able to get a lot of that communication and conversation going, I think that time can be reduced even to half. And we've seen examples of that with Will Hart, maybe, but Will Hart and stuff.
But Will Hart's Chinese is just very standard.
Yeah,
标准的普通话
really good.
Uses like an accent, and I think this is a funny thing some foreigners can do. If they imitate an accent, they can cover their local accent.
Right. Like when I speak 普通话, like if there's some Chinese person hearing this, listening to this right now, you can probably tell that I'm of course not 本地人, local people. But
same with me. Absolutely.
If I speak 四川话, maybe if you're from Sichuan, you can tell I'm not speaking fully natively, but you still can understand and you can kind of guess that maybe I'm from Sichuan, maybe not, or from Sichuan, another place, maybe not Chengdu. But most people will guess that maybe I'm from somewhere outside of Sichuan, like maybe Guizhou or Beijing or anywhere in China. But when I speak Sichuan, no one really thinks that I'm a foreigner. My American accent doesn't come into it.
This was kind of my intention learning English. I wanted to pick up the Aussie accent to cover up my German accent.
I think it's a mix of both right now.
Yeah.
And I like it. I think the German accent is very nice. It's very strong.
I hate it.
I like your accent. I think it's nice. It's a mix
but
of
it's
Aussie
not
and German.
as thick as it was when I just came to Australia. But you know, the funny thing I want to point out is the language learning community has like these two philosophies, language acquisition and comprehensible input.
Yeah.
So these two are like the holy grail.
Mm-hmm.
And you just crash that whole philosophy by proving the opposite, that you can actually speak from the beginning, or if you focus on output from the beginning, that you'll get to your results much quicker. So you can put it like this. Language acquisition and comprehensible input are like the twin towers, and you're like the pilot from 9/11.
I don't know if I want to put it like that.
Okay, stop. Short break.
There was a lot of maybe I thought you were going to say Freedom Tower. Like I'm the one that was built up like after they were broken down. Like we still stand. Like it's. I didn't think you were going to go there was a lot of directions you could have taken with that. It was.
Okay, now serious. This is a serious interview. It's sci-fi. No, but the interesting part is I am somebody who is very introverted.
Yes.
And I try to avoid.
Not in this interview, but yes.
I try to avoid, like awkward situations.
Sure.
Because especially, we spoke about it a couple of days ago, if I don't understand everything fully, it makes me feel very foolish, like an idiot. I hate it so much. How did you do it in the beginning if you didn't have much input, but you went on omeTV with Chinese people? Maybe you knew a few sentences, you just wanted to practice them over and over again.
So, my first day, first of all, the reason why I was able to not kind of fall victim of being so mad at myself was because I came in with really low expectation. This was, I started learning Chinese not because I thought I wanted to master it one day. It was just kind of like I was bored and I wanted to just pick up something new. And I thought, I saw some people on omeTV speaking to Chinese people and thought that was really cool.
Yeah, but were you not disappointed because you thought like, I'm not like them?
Yeah, at first, I mean, I was jealous at people who would like, there's some people that would point out, oh, look at this foreigner, he speaks better Chinese than we're not talking about Xiaoma. Well, he's a legend. He's kind of a reason why a lot of us started learning Chinese. Yeah, but I think when I started learning, the first day I started learning, I asked one of my Chinese international student friends to teach me a few phrases. So he taught me like, 你好. Well, actually, he didn't teach me that. He assumed I already knew that. He taught me like, 你今天干什么? 你工作怎么样?
And you didn't even write down characters because you didn't know characters at that time.
I didn't know pinyin, I didn't know anything. So what I used to do was, I used to have headphones in while I would be on omeTV. And well, the first day was really tough. It was like 你好吗? 你是中国, and people would say, what are you doing? I was like, 我是中国学生, something like that. And people thought, oh, you're studying here. I'm like, no, a lot of things got lost in translation. I use Google Translate for a lot of it, so that's probably why. And
Chinese sounds like Google Translate.
Yeah, I don't know. The first lesson I learned was that 你好吗 is not something that people say. They say
very
你好,
好地道.
你在干嘛, like different things.
你最近过得怎么样呢?
People don't even say that, actually.
This is already too formal.
Right, way too formal. And I had to learn that within the journey, actually. And so every time I would learn something new, I would just write it down. But I wouldn't write pinyin. I would write, for example, 你好吗. I would say
English letters, just
NEEHOW, like the word how, and then ma is just MA. Or no, I said MAH.
Not even with the tone signs.
No tones, no nothing. And I just was like, so obviously, at first I wasn't improving a lot. And I think, actually, but as I learned new words, I would just use it in the next conversation or the next day. And sometimes if I didn't understand how to say something or I wanted to reply to something in Chinese, especially to the people that didn't speak much English, I would have Google Translate like split screen with my omeTV and it would be in my headphones. So I'd just quickly type something in and then I'd be like try to imitate it. And how it happened, how I learned so much at the beginning was I would just keep repeating same things over and over again. Eventually I would realize 我在学中文. It's not 我是中国学生, 我是中文学生. No, 我现在在学中文. And just like these things, and people would correct me if I asked, but actually most people would just say, wow, your Chinese is so good, like, which wasn't helpful, but it was nice to be encouraged.
See, here I want to say, this is probably the biggest difference between you and me, that you just relied on the sound of the word. So, you learn vocabulary, you can just learn it in an isolated way. You just review it in an isolated way, and then you just have it somewhere at the back of your memory. Or you heard it so many times that if you want to pull it out of your memory, if you want to output it, it just comes out naturally. Or first you have to think and try to remember the word. For example, I had that yesterday on omeTV. I spoke to somebody, and I wanted to say, 我是一个学习语言的发烧友. Do you know the word 发烧友?
No, I don't.
It means like enthusiast.
Oh, okay.
But you would rely on the word 发烧友, 发烧友. You heard it just so many times, or you used it yourself. But first, before I speak, I think about the character. And I see the characters in my mind. I see the character 发烧, which means fever, and then 有. like 朋友的友.
Yeah.
And then I see the characters, and first I have to recall, and it takes like a second.
I've heard it. So if I hear that word about like 2 or 3 more times, then I'll learn it. That's how it works with me.
Yeah.
Because I've definitely heard 发烧友 before. But I don't think I'll remember it next time, but maybe the time after. Maybe because we're doing an interview, I'll remember it. So that.
Yeah. But this is the major difference. I was like very theoretical at the beginning, and you said the day you went on omeTV, was that your first day of learning Chinese?
That was my first day of learning.
Or you had some sort of basis before
No, I
that?
told you, I knew 你今天干什么了？你工作怎么样？ You know, so those things.
你好吗?
Oh,你好吗? And he also and some curse words which I would never dare say. And he taught me a really authentic idiom, which is 魂牵梦绕. Like 你让我魂牵梦绕 means like I can't stop.
I don't even know that tongue.
It's like you're like running circles around my brain. Like I can't stop thinking about you. Like I'm obsessed with you.
Wow.
So like when you tell like if you're someone you like or whatever, oh 你让我魂牵梦绕, it's like I like I'm losing sleep over you. It's like I'm obsessed.
I only know 我对你上头. It's like also I'm obsessed.
So yeah.
The funny thing is, only when I came to China, which was 3 months ago, I started using omeTV for the first time. And before that, I have studied Chinese for 1.5 years.
But you used HelloTalk before that.
Yes, but only on a very inconsistent basis. Like every weekend, I had one language exchange.
When you say language exchange, do you mean you went to the voice rooms, or was it mostly like...
No, I had a video call with one of my friends over WeChat. So I met them on HelloTalk originally, but it was not enough. What I was always longing for is to have somebody I can speak with on Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays.
Sure.
I only had one conversation like on a Saturday. And it's kind of weird. I have learned for 1.5 years, but I only spoke to Chinese people like an actual conversation after 1.5 years. While you did it from the first day.
That's true. Yeah, I did do it from the first day. And yeah, like I would ask, whenever I had questions, I never was afraid to use my resources at hand. So most of those resources would just be classmates that I had in high school that were, you know, international students. And I was like, hey, this person said this, hey, this person said this. And I remember one word in particular that everyone kept saying, but no one had the answer to me because I think I kept saying it so wrong. It's 90. A lot of people, when they don't know what they're saying, they just use it as a filler word.
那个就是怎么说?
Yeah, but I mean, it can also be used as in like a directional word, but I mean, a lot of times used in a way. So I heard it all the time, but I think when I would tell it to my friends, I'd be like, what is 90? 90, 90. I don't know what I was saying.
And they didn't know you meant 就是.
Only like after hearing it some more and my accent improved, it's like, oh, that's what you mean. And that's when I started using it. So that's why I think in some ways my Chinese learning was super efficient. In some ways it was really inefficient because I think now I've kind of reached a bit of a plateau in terms of learning new things. Or not a plateau, but a super slow progression from here on out in terms of learning new things.
Do you have any regrets or something you would do differently afterwards if you would have to start from scratch again? Because my biggest regret is I didn't focus on output earlier. Really, just after a year of studying characters and radicals and pinyin and everything, I was focusing a lot on reading and stuff and characters. I think I have a very wide base in terms of Hanzi.
I think so too. Yeah.
But I started speaking so late because I always believed I cannot speak yet. I literally knew like 1,500 words already, but my speaking just very bad.
Yeah.
What would you say is your biggest regret?
First of all, I definitely envy your command of vocabulary and words.
But you can still catch up.
Yeah. And we can always catch up to one another in different ways. I think it's never too late. You know, I think that I wouldn't say I have any regrets though, because I've made so many amazing connections through learning Chinese in the way that I have. I've always been in the right place at the right time in so many, dude, I met my girlfriend just on a random voice room one day that I didn't even, I was just bored. I was about to sleep and I just went to somebody's voice room to chill. And she was also bored that day and we came so much yuan, so much fate and everything. It's insane how many connections. I met you through somebody else, our friend who we met through just on omeTV and I think that I wouldn't change anything, but I would change how I approach language learning from now on. If I want to become serious about Chinese and really be able to communicate in a extremely fluent way about any topic that I want, I think I need to focus a lot more on the input.
How was your input at that time though? Because I can't believe that, did you download Chinese social media or something?
Yeah, I WeChat. from the very. I had WeChat from the first day I started learning Chinese. I was like, I'm learning Chinese. Download HelloTalk. Download WeChat.
Douyin?
I only got Douyin till way later.
Because on Douyin you learn probably the most detailed stuff.
But you need
Comments.
you need a Chinese app like ID to get it. I don't know how you got it, but
I have a Chinese like kind of app store, Play Store, and from there I download it.
it's not so easy on
Apple.
So you need to use someone's actual account.
This is why you have two phones.
Well, now this is why I have two. Well, I have two phones now because I can't use my Chinese phone number on my regular phone because it's a locked phone with my American SIM carrier.
Wait, the other phone you bought here in China?
No, it's an American phone that I've just put a Chinese SIM card in.
Oh.
The old phones have regular SIM cards, or all the ones in China, but the new phones in America and outside of China all have eSIM cards, so they don't have physical SIM cards, so I can't even put it in. So yeah, I would say that as far as input, I'd be listening to people talking. Sometimes when I'd be driving, I would just listen to conversations on HelloTalk and voice rooms and just be in the audience while driving home from work or something.
But did you never utilize textbooks?
No.
Okay.
I never will.
What about like YouTube, watching vlogs, Chinese vlogs?
I tried to sometimes, but it was not. I even tried to watch some Instagram videos about Chinese. I tried using Xiaohongshu and Bilibili. I was never really motivated by it. I was never interested.
Your input is purely coming from real people.
We're talking like 97% plus.
Hey guys, it's me from the editing tab. What I mean here by saying that the input is coming from real people is that he had an actual two-sided conversation with a Chinese person rather than just watching a YouTube video, which is a one-sided kind of way. These kind of videos are often designed for learners and therefore often they speak slowly and clearly. And this is another major difference between the two of us. I grew up with these kind of videos in my Chinese journey, whereas he only took his input from actual two-sided conversations. So
till now too.
Not just watching videos and TV shows, podcasts.
I mean, now I watch Douyin, but actually most of my Douyin is actually foreigner, so it's not very helpful. Foreigners in Sichuan.
Yeah. Somehow my Douyin is also very much English based. It's kind of annoying. I
would actually say my Sichuan had a lot more input because I would watch videos and I would even have classes with people. I would learn, from friends and people from Sichuan, and I would actually have them write out and teach me words that I could use in the future. So I think that's also why my Sichuanhua is a lot more didao than my Putonghua, because Sichuanhua I'm speaking some words that you only know if you speak Sichuanhua.
Yeah, and you picked it up from actual Sichuan people through omeTV.
Not only through omeTV, but yeah, I mean mostly just people that I met, whether it be in real life or online through some.
But that's the thing. Even if you lived still in the US, you created some sort of immersion environment, like your little China in your bedroom where you had your omeTV sessions.
Not even in my bedroom, like in where I lived. Like I utilized the fact that I had Chinese restaurants near me, a lot of international students at my college, a lot of Naichadian milk tea shops. I would just go in and just talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that every time, this is my third time in China now. Every time I'm in China, I don't improve my Chinese at all.
How long have you stayed in China in total, all days counted together?
So the first time I stayed 3 weeks. Second time I stayed, I think, maybe starting between, this is 10. I'd say like no more than 40 days. No more than 40 days.
Okay. It's also important to point out here because
45 days maybe, yeah.
Because some people will think, oh, he spent lots of time in China. He had some deep immersion and was surrounded by
I would say the one thing that has improved is my time in Chengdu has drastically improved my Sichuanhua. My Sichuanhua improves exponentially when I'm in Chengdu. Because the problem with me is not my pronunciation or
it's a good question. What do you still find most difficult about Chinese?
Most difficult?
What we're about to say, my biggest problem.
Oh, my biggest problem with Sichuanhua is the fact that the tones are like so different from Putonghua. So that's why sometimes now I think both are getting a little mixed up with each other. So when I speak Putonghua, sometimes I'll like just throw Sichuanhua tones or words in there because
messing up the tones. Yeah.
And so Sichuanhua, I still think I'm getting better. And my time in Chengdu, even though I was just in Chengdu yesterday for one day, and I think
that's kind of crazy.
I spoke Sichuanhua the whole day. And I think it improved so much. Just that is something that I need input for to learn a dialect that's only spoken in one. Because I'm trying to learn this Chengdu Sichuanhua. So I can only learn that in one place. Like even though I hang out with some Chengdu people in America, it's not the exact same.
Yeah. So before we get there, talking about your first experience coming to China.
Sure.
To summarize so far, Yeah, I always, from an early stage, I also preached that you need input alone. And only then, at some point, you can start putting out. But now, because I met you, somehow I have to reposition reconsider my whole philosophy and somehow think that there are exceptions, but I believe...
For your next language, you'll try it out.
But I believe it depends a lot on your personality.
100%.
Because, you know, I'm very introverted and I can talk to people, I can be social.
You would even go up to a person that you've taken a picture of saying, hey, like...
Bro, I'm too shy to even walk up to people and ask them take a photo of me.
Yeah.
Like if I'm traveling somebody alone. But I can be very social if I just get into it.
Once you're comfortable, right?
Some people even say I'm very charismatic or I'm a good speaker or blah, blah, blah. But the problem is it drains me quickly.
Yes, I know.
So I can have some conversations.
You have to have a fat nap after this conversation.
Not a fat nap, but like 5 days off.
Yeah.
Like literally, Saturday, Sunday, I can talk all day, but for the rest of the week, you can't talk to me. Like the batteries are just out. And this is what introverted means to me. It doesn't mean you're like socially awkward. I am awkward a bit. I'm like a bit weird, but
we all are. We're all weird.
But being introverted to me means that you recharge your batteries in your time alone. And that you get drained by people quickly. You're kind of the opposite. You can talk as much as you want.
No,
and you don't feel ashamed.
No.
Like if you walk into a restaurant, I immediately feel so small and like everybody's looking down at me. But you feel very confident. You're like...
Dude, we went to that...
You give me a few downtime.
That cashier, that girl did not want to talk to us. But like, I just kept asking her, like, I was like, what's up? Like, where are you from? All these things.
Yeah.
And like,
the crazy thing is, Krishna uses every situation in real life like a omeTV scenario. Just like hitting up a conversation. You were even talking to the taxi driver, bro.
Well, that's normal.
And this is so weird.
I don't do it out because when we're in the taxi together with our friends, whatever, like I want to talk to you guys, but if I'm alone, I'm always having a conversation with the taxi driver. I should record that. I have such interesting conversations with taxi drivers.
I just had one and it was hilarious. Like it was super funny.
Really?
And he started talking about like, 我们中国人不喜欢日本人.
Yeah.
You know, but like we really pulled out that whole stuff.
Yeah. I've heard my fair share of that.
Actually, I also recorded it, but most of the time, and this is the biggest difference, I never talk to the taxi driver. Just because I'm too shy.
I think the taxi drivers in America just for the hell of it. Like I just like, hey, yo, like what's up? What do you believe the purpose of your life is type thing.
See, and this is what is a fact. You improve quickest by speaking. Because this is what I also always preach on my channel, that if you meet a new word in a real life scenario, because it's linked to
an experience,
to emotions and to a feeling and to an environment, it will stuck so much more easily rather than just learning it from home just in a very dull way, like repeat English translation. Chinese.
Comprehensible input is not as... No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, but actually through speaking, it's the fastest way.
Yeah, I'm sure
It's definitely the fastest way. The question is only how much can you speak? And you're like a waterfall.
What are you trying to ask? Are you talking about me specifically? Or
no, do you agree or do you agree?
How much can I speak? Do I agree or yeah, I can speak.
Yeah, you mostly improve by speaking. You
right.
like learn by doing, right?
That's all I did, right? And I'm a big talker, a lot of.
But it depends on personality, don't you think?
Yeah.
Some people are more outgoing. They're not very ashamed.
I think if well, to be honest though, like I think I got embarrassed quite a few times in the beginning of my journey, and I think that was so crucial for my progress. When I would go into a Chinese restaurant, maybe like 1-2 months into learning, a few weeks into learning, whatever, and I would like order on the phone or order there. First of all, they didn't think I was speaking Chinese to them at first because we're in America and no one just speaks to a random Chinese person in China. Like they don't expect that. But then the second thing is like, then sometimes they didn't understand what I was saying. Whatever. They're like, "Oh, just speak English." Like I got things to do.
Oh, and it's so painful.
It's so painful. And but those experiences, like maybe like, all right, I gotta get better. I gotta get better.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, I still remember those experiences and. After I would do that, I would ask my friends, okay, how do I do this? Next time I go into a restaurant. And then I sat with my friend and she walked me through. We had an entire mock conversation of what to do in a restaurant. But yeah, I mean, speaking, when I would go on omeTV at night, because in America, difference is either 12 or 13 hours, depending on daylight savings time between China and New York. And I would be so sleepy, but I was like, all right, let me get in my practice for the day speaking. And then like, next thing you know, 4 hours later, I'm still going strong because it
And
just
you don't want to
energizes,
stop.
and I don't want
Yeah, you don't want to stop.
every time I'm like, okay, last 15 minutes, I got work, or I got school. Oh, but what if I meet someone so cool? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I have intense FOMO.
Yeah, we have been on omeTV together.
Yeah.
I've seen that you are very professional in terms of this platform.
老师，你是不是从小从中国长大？
我就是在中国出生的，长大的，我父母都是中国人，我是成都本地人。
哦，难怪呢，我就说，然后你开始说英语，但是我就觉得你的英语带着一股中国味儿，然后我就很奇怪。
Can you ask her if she's single?
就是他想问一下，就是你喝一天喝几杯牛奶？ I know exactly. I know even before we even meet the person, what kind of person they're gonna be, and if I should skip them beforehand or not.
Yeah.
And yeah, going back to the embarrassment thing.
Yeah.
There'd be times where I don't understand a question, and I felt like my ego was hurt so bad. I just skip. I was like, oh, I gotta take a phone call. Oh, or I would just turn my Wi-Fi off so they think my connection is bad. And I would just feel so embarrassed. But
Didn't you also feel frustrated?
Yeah.
Like wanting to give up, this kind of feeling?
I think after a certain point, I would get frustrated, but not wanting to give up. But there was many times within the first 1 to 2 months where I felt as though, okay, like, it's cool. I had my Chinese phase. Now it's over. But then things would happen. I would meet certain people, and
then get motivated
I feel
again.
the rush again.
Yeah, I can totally relate. But I have this reaction that I just want to withdraw and never ever want to show my face again.
Oh, but
Like-
you've been learning for quite some time now, and obviously you're more than good enough to have great conversations with people. You can probably have way deeper conversations than I have in some ways. Like
In China, yeah,
in China, like I'm able to
but not on omeTV. You're the absolute omeTV goat.
I'm able to induce great
Everybody on omeTV knows you already.
something like that. Yeah, like if someone will post a video of me on omeTV, like all the comments are like, I've
had
seen
this
him.
guy too.
I've seen him twice. I've seen him 3 times. I spent way too much. It's probably way over $500 actually. I think maybe $600-700. I got that makes sense. That makes sense. And so like I'm able. One thing about me is that first of all I'm a good faker. Like people usually like oh yeah, like I'm good at listening.
对的,
And to be honest, that would lead to a lot of times in the beginning when people would ask me a question or something, and I'd just give an answer based on what I thought the question could be.
And then you would reveal your real 水平.
Yeah. Or I would get it right, and people would think, "Oh my god!" Like
Yeah.
And so that was the luck of the draw. And even nowadays too, like sometimes we have dinner with Chinese people, and they talk about advanced things. Like I get the what they
Roughly.
mean, but there's maybe 1 or 2 sentences during the night where I'm like, I have no clue.
Yeah.
And like, I just like all these things, and if they ask a question, I'm like, 这个有点难说，我需要想一下嘛。
I haven't thought about it.
Yeah, I thought about it. 这个我没想到，没想过 whatever. And so it came with a lot of failure, embarrassment, everything. But I mean, all those experiences really, you learn the best when you make mistakes.
Yeah.
Like I've learned words the fastest when I made mistakes with them. So like, and I feel as though I'm able to have really deep conversations with people because I am that kind of person in English. And whether or not I understand what they're saying, I love asking each other, 你生命的意义是什么? And even though I don't understand well, now I do, but back then I didn't understand what they were saying. They were like, wow, 和你聊天真的有意思。这个外国人呢会问我这个生命的意义是什么？这个是怎么回事儿 ？Whatever it is.
我甚至看了一个视频，一个外国人问了中国人生活的意义到底是什么。
Oh, is it a British guy?
Yeah, the British guy.
I know
with
that
the,
guy.
With the construction,
The
like the
jacket.
PPE.
I like that guy.
And then, 然后这个中国的他回答他说，我觉得吃晚饭 like it's a very simple answer which even a beginner would understand. And he talks about purpose of life,
I don't think. I know exactly the fact that we have
the same algorithm.
Media, it's insane.
Same algorithm.
Sometimes he wears like a Santa hat or something. I don't know. He wears. If you're watching this, by the way, shout out to you.
To who?
To
The British guy.
I think his name is Jack.
Hey, I learned so much of Chinese through him, especially how to start a conversation. Because before I dared to go on omeTV, I watched I even downloaded his videos like as an MP3 and listened to it at work to see like how to start, how to strike up a conversation.
Yeah, he has a lot of confidence, I think. I usually start nowadays in English because I like the surprise. Now, I still like learning Chinese started as just for whatever reason it started, but I kept going with it because it gave me a rush. Like it gave me excitement. It still does to this day, especially with Sichuanhua. But nowadays, like if I'm just having a normal conversation in Chinese, it doesn't give the same rush that it used to. So in order to keep that rush going, when I go on omeTV, I start in English and then I surprise them in Chinese. Like, oh my god! But sometimes I make up that I'm like half Sichuan, half Indian, or I'm from Xinjiang, or I'm full Chinese that you're just blind, you just don't understand me. Or sometimes I'll start speaking Chinese to them and then I'll just switch back to English and like, oh my god, you speak Chinese. I'm like, what are you talking about? What?
You misheard me.
And then they feel bad and then I'm like, no, I did speak Chinese.
You know about these embarrassing or maybe frustrating moments?
Yeah.
It was always double-sided, just as you said. So on one hand side, I was very frustrated. I am more like, I'm throwing in the towel, I'm like giving up, blah, blah, blah. More, definitely more than you. But on the other hand side, it also gave me motivation. Because especially here in China, like drinking tea together and having a full conversation in Chinese, but you don't fully understand. And sometimes they crack jokes and they start laughing, but you don't fully understand and you don't laugh. You're the only one not laughing. You know how it feels, bro? You feel like an alien and like you're not fully with them on eye level. And it made me so painful that at the same time I could transform it into motivation. And it gave me like this keep going, like underdog kind of spirit. Yeah, like, okay, now even more, you know, because I hate this feeling so much. I want to be even better at Chinese. I think I got a lot of my biggest progress when those moments happen, and I use that as time. That's where the other 5% of input comes from, right? Where I said like 95 or 97% is just conversation. The other 3%, 5% is still in a sense conversation, but it was me utilizing the context that I made on omeTV or Hello Talk or my classmates, and I would then ask them, okay, how can I then go about this? So they were giving me answers, and that was the input for me. But yeah, for me, it was just always about experience, whether it be embarrassing or not, whether I understand or not. Like my most motivating times have been like, there was a time where one of my best friends in China, she told me about this like other Indian dude that's from India who like speaks Chinese so well, and he learned like maybe only like 1 or 2 more months than me. And I was like, she's like, look at this guy. And she was my friend, so she was obviously joking with me. When I'm looking at her, but I like felt kind of hurt, I'm not gonna lie. Now that guy is actually, we're like. But did you also feel challenged at the same time?
Not at the time, I was just hurt. I'm like, how the hell would what is my friend doing? But then afterwards it became like, all right,
fuel.
Let's get there. And he's a really cool guy, by the way.
The Indian lad.
Yeah, he posts videos on Instagram sometimes, really meaningful, and he's gotten a few viral Chinese videos on there actually. So yeah, that's pretty. Props up to him. He's a cool guy. I talked to him a few times. And then also when I was speaking Sichuanhua back when I first started, and then there was this guy who lived in Chengdu, but he's not from Sichuan. I think he was from Wuhan or something. And he was like first person that says like, dude, your Sichuanhua is not good. I don't know why you tell people you speak Sichuanhua. And I'm like, bro,
was like, stop.
He was. And I'm like, first of all, you're not even from Chengdu. And he's like, no. And I was just like, and I didn't say that to him, but like, I felt so hurt. I'm like, I'm actually trying to start. I just started. I'm like, I'm not saying I'm good. I said, I will pretty sure you did the Sichuanhua. He's like, it's so bad, dude. You got to get better. And I was hurt about that for a while. But then afterwards, I'm like, you know what? Fine. And so then I like.
Now I'll show you.
And then I found some people online to help me and all these things. And then next time I talked to him, he said, oh my God, dude. And I'm like, you were my motivation, bro. I hated you at first. And he even told me, he said, after we had a conversation, I really felt bad and I felt embarrassed to talk to you again. But now we found each other, and I'm like, I'm happy that I was able to be a motivation for you.
This is such a nice underdog story. Like first a failure, but then you want to push even more. Okay, last thing I want to talk about is actually coming to China.
Sure.
Because I realized utilizing omeTV, you can get to fluency without ever having been to China. Yeah. But how many months have you learned before you came to China for the first time?
6 months.
Okay, I learned 1.5 years. And I knew way more than 1,000 characters already. So when I just came, most of the characters I saw, I knew. Just I was not familiar with real life situations. I didn't even know how to order something in the restaurant. I didn't even know how to say wasauni. But because this is kind of stuff you would also not learn in omeTV.
I only learned when I came here too, because you don't really scan things to pay in
omeTV.
Well, or in anywhere
Chinatown.
outside of China, or Chinatown, or like you don't scan people to add their WeChat. You just like type in whatever it is. So like, it's that's something that I think you only learn here. But yeah, I get what you mean about not knowing.
But not only that, most of the things I wanted to communicate in my daily life, because learning Chinese from Australia, I never used these kind of sentences. It was like I brought a big vocabulary with me and a set of Hanzi, but I didn't know how to put them together, how to form natural sentences.
You know how to put piece the puzzle together.
Yeah, and especially because I didn't have too many conversations with Chinese people. And how did you experience this coming to China for the first time after 6 months of study?
So I was with amongst friends throughout the entire trip, so I didn't really worry too much about it. But like, at least there were several periods of time where I was just alone, and I felt zero communication barrier.
Zero communication barrier.
Like maybe like 5-10%. I wasn't able, because I mean I wasn't talking about anything super deep. I was asking for directions. I was asking for this, and like these are all things that I've experienced and used in real life situations. I've been to Chinese restaurants in America where I speak with Chinese people in Chinese, so it's the same thing, just maybe the wasani or whatever. Like and also a lot of people that come to China for the first time, after learning Chinese for a long time, they have a really hard time understanding people. First of all, because of the local accents and the local dialects and the speed at which people speak at. And they just don't have experience with that. They learn from a book, or they learn from vocab, or they learn from whatever it may be. And with me, my entire learning was just talking. So
and instantly the input came from natives and not from teachers who spoke very slowly and clearly.
And that's why when I speak Chinese slowly, it's not as standard. I also, because I'm also not thinking about the tones. Like it doesn't feel right to me. I always speak fast, even if it's not fully standard. Like it just feels more comfortable for me. Especially Sichuanhua too. Like everyone speaks. I think it's the fastest spoken dialect in China. Like I have to speak it fast, or else I'm not gonna really understand it or speak well. And so in that same way, when I came to China, I first came to Shanghai. And a lot of people in Shanghai don't have very Biaozhong, because they have their Shanghai Hua, which is super different from Puhua. And I was just asking for directions. I got on the maglev train. I was asking to buy tickets, all these things. And I was like, no problem at all. Because I was just like, these are things that I've experienced in America. And I put myself in situations to where, I mean, there was a few times where, when I was buying the ticket to the train, she's like, well, no, the maglev train.
Oh, the maglev train.
Yeah, and from Shanghai, the airport to the you took that one, right?
I didn't take it, but I know that it's the fastest in the world or something.
Yes, at certain times during the day it is. And she was asking like 支付宝 or 还是微信支付, and I never used WeChat Pay or Alipay in my life. Like
obviously you wouldn't know that.
So at that time I was like, 支付宝, what is that? You know. So and I have it on English, at least in my American phone. I have it on English, so I didn't even know it was called 支付宝 or 微信支付宝. So WeChat Pay, Alipay, you know. So that was one of the first times that was the first time I didn't understand somebody in Chinese. But even on the flight there was a little girl and her mom next to me, and I talked with them for a few hours during the flight, which was really nice.
During the flight, I would never do that. I'd be too shy.
Life is like omeTV to me. This is a simulation. We live in a simulation anyways.
You're like, we'll never meet again if I mess something up.
Play, you know? Yeah. That's right. There are times, even now, sometimes where I'm like, this is really weird, but I'm like, you know what? I'm never gonna get this opportunity again. Worst case scenario, like I just never see them again. Fine.
Most importantly, that you have a lesson learned and you know better next time.
And so going back, I kind of got a bit off topic there. I did. But communication, no issue here.
I see once again through something that you just said, how different our approach is, because you rely on the sound of the word and you just spit it out naturally. You don't even think about the tones. But I learned like from bottom up. So first wide basis of, or wide foundation of pinyin and the tones and everything and characters bit by bit, building up radicals together to characters. So if you say 支付宝, you just say it so quickly, but you know when I say it, before I say it, I think about the tones. 支付宝. Always like that. Always when I form a sentence in Chinese, in my head I see the tones.
That's the problem. Like if I'm supposed to be reading pinyin, it's like kind of hard for me, because it's something like 你是中国人. It's like 你是中国人, something like that. Like that's what it'd be like, and it doesn't sound right. And that was and I tried the pinyin. Like I understand how pinyin works and everything, but I don't think I fully, like if I have to look up a word in the dictionary, it's possible that even after seeing pinyin, I won't fully understand. That's something that I need to work on starting now. I feel as though we need to like swap our language techniques from this moment on to really improve our Chinese to the best like it can be. I think you've gotten enough vocab to do a lot here. I think you can always keep learning, but I think your issue is not issue, but like what you could work on more is just communicating and being more confident with people. What I need to work on is getting more vocab and understanding how pinyin works and understanding how these characters form and stuff. And yeah, the same thing too. Reading was just conversation on WeChat. And if I didn't understand it, I put it into Google Translate, and then I'll see the pinyin, so I see what it is. And then like I would just see it over and over again, and eventually like it's stuck. So like that's cool. Like I didn't really have any textbook or any input for reading, just conversation with people on WeChat or HelloTalk.
Did I tell you already that one of my New Year's resolutions is to use omeTV as much as possible?
No, you didn't, but that's a great.
So I want to continue doing these theoretical studies. I learn like on a good day, like 15 characters a day. For example, yesterday I learned 15 new characters. Today it didn't end because it was so busy.
How long do you spend on character like study?
If I
Like
learned
yesterday, 15 characters, how long?
there was maybe 40 minutes.
Yeah, so you really.
But it's because, you know, my method is building a mnemonic for each and every character. So sometimes it takes some time. And then I just write that character down, think about it, and then it's in. And then it's really my long-term memory.
When speaking, because then you overthink it when you're speaking as well. You have to like constantly make sure you're speaking the right thing because you've.
Yeah. So actually, speaking quickly only comes from repetition.
That's right.
It doesn't really come from theoretical
I've
studies.
had so many meaningless conversations on omeTV, but they're meaningful for me. Not meaningless in the sense like it's really nice. I mean, I know so much about Chinese geography because I ask everyone where they're from, but like not a lot of substance in the conversation. Like the amount of times I said 你是哪儿的？你好，我是美国的。你是中国哪儿的？哦，我听过。
Always begins like this, and because of this, you can say these sentences very quickly.
Yes.
So I also. 我只是待了在中国3个月 because I said it so many times, and there I don't have to think about the tones. So in this aspect, I'm becoming like you a bit. But back to the characters. So studying new characters takes like 40, 50 minutes a day. But then what I always do in my online course, these new words activate example sentences so that you learn these words in context.
Yeah, I need to start.
But I always review these example sentences on the next day. So I learn the characters only. Yeah, and then on the next day I review the example sentence. And the example sentences take quite a lot of time. Because sometimes I don't get the whole sentence and then there is another character which I forgot again. Yeah, so reviewing the sentences takes sometimes like an hour a day. But even if I only spend like 1.5 hours a day on characters, which of course is an inevitable foundation. You need to learn characters. Yeah. Right? But I want to focus more on output. For example, yesterday I went on omeTV for like 2 hours. But I think if I do it every evening, because in the evening most people, you know,
hours is child's play. You gotta get up 12 hours
Yeah,
straight.
but
no bathroom breaks, no water. Let the mouth dry itself.
Yeah, but sometimes I believe Chinese people are only like willing to talk in the evening. So I would never go on omeTV during the day or in the hour.
Well, I would be talking in the evening because in the morning I have school or work or I don't wake up in time. So by the time I'm up, like if I don't have anything to do, we're talking like it's close to like 10, 11, which is like sometimes like midnight here. So not as many people are on. Sometimes I still try to get, also I look like a mess. And so sometimes I try to get on there, but most of the time I go at night because it's just convenient after I finish what I need to do before I go to sleep. I'll be on there for a few hours. And there are people on there. That's why on the weekends it's best because everyone is doing nothing at home.
Okay, talking about night, I see that it's getting very dark already. Yeah. So we have to finish soon.
Yes.
我们就到这里吧. But this is a phrase I learned from videos because YouTube videos always end like this. 我们暂时就到这里吧. Or 说完这里吧. Anyway, yeah, my resolution is definitely hop on omeTV every evening and just talk as much as only possible and improve like 语速. Really just speak naturally, quickly, but not neglecting like the foundation, like 汉字. So what do you want to focus on this year?
This year, I think, really focus on getting my vocabulary up. I think for the most part, my grammar and sentence structure is pretty good. Like I understand how the language works and how its differences between English, like what distinguishes them. And, you know, I kind of figured it out. And so all I need to do is now just get a lot more input in, whether it be through reading or learning more characters for my reading skills or learning more vocab and using Anki flashcards and stuff for vocab.
You never use Anki, did you?
Never. I tried for Sichuanhua, but the deck I used was like old style Sichuanhua. So and some of it was Chongqinghua, and so it was a little weird. But I still use some of those words today. Like I used some of them yesterday, and people were like, "What? Like 你猜一下? Like can you guys say 你配哈?" That's what the flashcard said, but no one really they just say 你猜哈. So whatever. But anyways, going back to what do I want in this new year? My motivation for studying has definitely gone down and become lazy and not motivated, but hopefully I can garner that motivation back. I'm gonna still go on omeTV just because it's fun. Yeah. And HelloTalk. HelloTalk is good because you don't have to have any like worry about your appearance. You just go on and talk to people like when you're lying on your bed before going to sleep. So that was a lot of great input. But yeah, I want to learn more vocab words, learn more characters in general, and just be able to speak in a more advanced way. I think I've kind of figured out how the language works and what to say when. I just need to I think my biggest problem comes when I'm having conversations with people and I just can't find a word that I'm looking for. And so when I can then insert those words into those things, not only is my speaking better, but I understand things better. And so, yeah, I think if I can really get my vocab up to like, 5 to 10,000 words, somewhere in that range, then I think that'll really be fluency and I'll be able to flawlessly communicate. And also Sichuanhua, I said from the time I start learning Sichuanhua, in 3 years' time, I want to sound like a local Chengdu person. No one can tell.
3 years don't need that. I think you can do it quicker.
I just don't have enough. I don't put enough time into it because Sichuanhua, most of it needs to be in Sichuan itself, which is why.
Okay. Yeah, we have to mention here that Krishna is not living in China like me right now. So I've been here for 3 months already. So more than you.
Yeah.
And you speak Chinese. 你比我好1000倍. And I'm still staying here for the rest of the year.
但是你的水平比我好很多，就是你
我不信。
你认识
你不用那么谦虚。
你也不用那么谦虚，好不好？
He's very like humble and stuff.
You're very humble.
But actually, he's like the goat.
You're the on omeTV. I'll take it. I'll take it.
No, but it's just facts. Just through omeTV, this lad learned Chinese.
That's why it's tough too, because it's hard to find new conversations. Every time I go on there, most times at least 1 or 2 people recognize me. So it's like, all right, it's not the same anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean.
Yeah, but the special thing is you still live in New York.
Well, New Jersey, yeah. I mean.
Yeah, and you improve Chinese. So I mean that's crazy within 1.5 years. Some people, of course, their language approach is just very wrong.
My friend always says that like, my Chinese was at the 8th month level was at the same as it is now. It's actually gotten worse, my accent, because like I just started getting lazy, maybe focusing on Sichuanhua and stuff. And so I think anyone can really, as long as you have the personality for it, in a 6 months time you can get to speaking the way that I'm speaking. I really think if you're speaking every day, and even if you come to China,
keep talking.
In 6 months time, I think you can definitely get to where my speaking like confidence is. Realistically, but definitely a year. Definitely.
But wait, are you really sure that you're not like hyper intelligent, like have a good memory or something that other people just
I have a great memory. I do have a great memory. I wouldn't say I have an eidetic memory, but it's close. Like I remember things, every moment of things from years and years ago. Like sometimes I meet my friends and I recount the most smallest details and things.
Okay, do you remember the name of the tree that James said earlier?
No, because it's in Chinese and sometimes it takes 5 times for me to recall something in Chinese.
I only remember Tong Shema Shema with the second tone, Tong Wu or Tong Fu.
You and your tones, I don't
remember.
But I remember it was from the dynasty and they planted it in Nanjing and Suzhou and and it reminded me of I don't know what it reminded me of, but then we started talking about the weeping willow. So that's
yeah. So it may be that there might be a certain gift to learn language quicker, having a good memory, but I still believe it mostly depends on how much you dare to speak.
And how much you dare to speak, not how much you will speak, because that has to do with your personality, how much you're willing to speak to others and everything, because and we're talking about like native Chinese people, not like Chinese teachers that are like American. Honestly, I think that's also good, but talking with people in a comfortable, casual way just makes your confidence go up so much. That's why this is my 3rd time coming to China, it already feels like it's not foreign to me anymore. Like I just think, hey, 你好, 你好.
Bro, you're just so local, literally. I'm still like a 外星人.
I'm still so.
Only in terms of your appearance, in terms of your language, no.
I don't know, man. But yeah, we're both gonna take pages out of each other's books. We're gonna record this again in 2025.
Yeah.
And
but
by that time,
我们要纯中文.
Yeah.
要说纯中文.
全是用中文，对。
Yeah.
对，那个时候我们就可以沟通就没什么问题。So yeah, I think I look forward. I have much higher expectations for you than I have for myself, but because I know how much you love learning this language and how much you're willing to spend, especially when you're recharging from this. I know after this you're about to start studying Hanzi for another 5 hours just in your downtime.
I know we're having the English corner tonight. Otherwise,
we are having Hanzi. That's right.
Yeah.
And you're eating your bread with your butter and your German stuff.
I have to buy some new 面包. Anyway, last thing. What would you say is the most important factor that determines how quick you learn a language? I always put up like a chart. Does it depend on the place where you live, like your intelligence, maybe if you have a good memory, consistency, motivation? What's like just one thing which determines your language learning journey most?
So it does vary.
I think you don't know my opinion yet.
Yeah, I don't think I know your opinion. I think every person is different in some way, but if I have to standardize it to anyone, any language, it comes down to two things. To learn it fast. It comes down to your love for it. If you don't really love it, to learn fast, you have to put in a lot of time, and you have to actually put in time that you're consciously thinking. It's not just, oh, I'm studying. Okay. It's today's study. Some people passively study. You have to actively, like when I was in my conversations in omeTV, even from the start, I was actively in every moment of it. And I remember those conversations afterwards. So you really have to love what you're doing, and obviously confidence is important. But I actually, if I have to put it down to one thing, it's hard to choose between confidence and passion or love or motivation. But between those two, I actually think your love for learning the language is actually the most important.
Yeah, and I think if you are very 热情, it will include consistency too.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I really believe it's attitude. So do you want to learn?
That's
do you want?
what I'm saying.
Do you want to go the extra mile?
Is that your opinion? Attitude?
I think attitude is the most determining
similar,
factor. Like, do you accept corrections? You know, some people, like I said, my parents have been in Germany for more than 20 years, but speak very poor German. It's because they just don't care. Like, they don't want to learn, and they don't care.
Input is not everything if you don't care.
Yeah, they have this kind of opinion. I can just get by. You know, they don't want to sound like a native, but that's okay. You don't have to, right? But I believe hard work beats talent, because some people just sit in their rooms and they are super smart, have a really good memory and stuff, but they don't speak. And they don't speak, and they don't dare to make mistakes, and they don't have this right attitude like you. Nobody will ever see me again, and blah blah blah. I don't care if I embarrass myself, and you know. But somebody like you who speaks more will beat these people who are naturally gifted. Like some nerd who just, you know, knows like 5,000 Hanzi or something. But if he doesn't speak, he will just not be as good as you.
I agree. Attitude. I think attitude actually is a better word than love, because attitude actually comes with confidence as well. I think attitude sums up everything that you need to go about to learn.
Yeah.
To learn a language the quickest, you need to have the right attitude. I agree, and I think we both have the right attitude. I think we're gonna learn from each other, and we're gonna keep in contact even when not in the same country. And I'm sure.
Absolutely, iron sharpens iron. No homo.
I thought you were speaking German just then. Iron sharpens.
Do you know that idiom? Iron.
Of course I know, but I you were saying it's such a strong, like, I thought you were speaking to your German viewers or something. Yes.
Eisen schärft Eisen. That's in German.
Eisen schärft Eisen. That's right.
Okay. Anyway, the next time we meet is actually in
the summer, or early spring, late spring, early summer. When I take you to Chengdu.
Okay, let's set a challenge. Then we will record a video fully in Chinese.
Let's do it.
Okay.
You guys will see my progress will be less than his, but it's okay.
No, I don't believe it. I'm still just a J9, just sitting at home, and it's really a struggle, really, to go out. But as soon as I'm out, it's fun.
So fun.
Like it always takes me some courage to go on omeTV, but as soon as I'm on, I don't want to get off. You know. So.
I agree.
All right, guys, that's it. We've been recording for how long?
Hour probably.
1 hour, yeah. Yeah. If I edit, I can probably make several videos out of it. All right, guys. 有缘再见
Bye bye.
Bye bye. Oh, that was such a nice interview.
Yeah, it was good.